Hello and welcome back to the 10 Pint Podcast. We're here as normal with me, Luke, and Beefham.
Right.
And also we have a very special guest, musician, Jamie Webster. How are we, mate?
Sound boys, nice one for having me on.
All good, sound. I think it's best to start off with, like, what's the last few weeks been like? Obviously since your albums came out and it's like charted so highly and stuff.
Yeah, it's been a mad couple of weeks. It's been strange really because ideally you get out and play, don't you, after releasing music. But yeah, it's been mad. I'm took back by like how many people got behind it, you know, from start to finish. Even like the pre-sale numbers were strong, but then once it come out and people started to listen to it, it just seemed to go even bigger. And none of us at the label, management, even family. I think when I signed the deal, it was like top 50. Do you know what I mean? It would have been a successful debut album, like, and blew me mind. Like I say, I've seen someone in here supported it because I've seen it on the floor there. So thank you very much, and to anyone who might be listening as well. Like, every single person who gets behind it, like, doesn't matter in any way, even if it's just one song that they like and they've listened to it, it really does. It goes a long way. Every single little stream, every little listen, every mention, every person that you've spoke to about it, you know, oh, listen to this, have a go. You know what I mean? It's not like his normal footy shite. It's better than this. You know what I mean? Like, this is like, so. It's it was boss, and it's strange really because, like I said, I thought I'd be out touring it, but I'm halfway through writing my second one now. Do you know what I mean? It's just been a bit of a strange time. Not that I've released an album before, so I know what happens. But like when you see and hear a band's releasing, they tend to tour shortly after. And but you know, we're here, aren't we? And yeah, thankfully the album's still going strong. People are still listening. People are still buying, even like over a month after it's come out. And you know, the chart position was like overwhelming to stay. Like, if you look at the people around me, it's like Dua Lipa, Miley Cyrus, Lewis Capaldi. They were all like, Lewis Capaldi's been in the top 10 for the last 3,000 years, hasn't he? You know what I mean? He's just like, he's never out of it. So to sort of go above him, albeit in my first week, and even like the iTunes thing where we topped the Killers for like half an hour. You know what I mean? But I've still got the screenshot. In fact, my bird's sister got the screenshot laminated for me where I was above the Killers in the iTunes charts, albeit for that brief moment. But yeah, like I say, it's been great. Well better than I thought it had gone. Like, just you don't expect, especially the times that we're in as well. Do you know what I mean? But to be honest, that might have helped because people were looking for things to listen to, things to do. Do you know what I mean? And I think the fact that there's been no football during the campaign of my album, really. Do you know what I mean? Like, there wasn't. When I say no football, I mean no football gigs. Because like, I'd have been gigging all around the world playing Liverpool songs because I was booked in to do that because every supporters club in every corner of the world wanted a league winning party and he wanted me to come and play. So, which was sound, it would have been a great summer. It would have had unbelievable. I was home for about a week and a half of it. Would have probably earned more money than I've ever earned in my life, but it weren't to be. But I think the fact that I wasn't on everyone's Twitter screen playing LA, LA, LA and Virgil van Dijk song, I think it helped separate my own music a lot more, and like it helped that ring through because I was releasing singles and singles about what was going on at that moment in time. And it sort of helped me build the hype for the album on its own, rather than trying to do it alongside.
Yeah. Are you going to carry on with the football stuff? Because, like, certainly, me and you are Blues. Yeah. And, like, I'm not going to lie, obviously, before that, the LA and the Van Dijk, obviously, I'm not going to listen to it.
No, of course not. Like,
so I think that's, like, been a game changer for you, though, because I've seen, like certainly a few Blues, like, we certainly, like, love the album, and that's what it sort of changed the perspective of it. And that.
Do you know what? It means... I've got to be careful how I word this, but it does mean more when it comes from Blues. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm not disregarding the Liverpool support, because the up and down of it is the fans that I've gained through doing them Liverpool gigs, the ones who've helped me get my album into the top 10 majority. Do you know what I mean? Because they're the ones who buy me album, never ever turn away from them, shy away from that support. But like, I've got close mates, very close mates, like some of my very best mates who hate Liverpool more than any, like, use Blues, but like, and I don't know yous that well, but I could probably put money on it that one of my mates hates Liverpool more than yous. Do you know what I mean? More than all your families put together. He comes from a household that don't have red in the house. Never. No. Like, he's never wore red in his life, in his whole life. They have blue Father Christmases, blue tomato ketchup, lad, it's like, do you know what I mean?
Celtic house this.
Yeah, do you know what?
Yeah.
They're a lovely family, but when it comes to football, like, you know what I mean? We have had this, but like, he's obviously watched me doing all these Liverpool things, and like, while he's made up because he's my mate, and he's made up that I'm doing well, it's killing him seeing me doing all this and going on. So like, once I said, oh, you know, like, I've been writing my own songs since I was 15, 16, you know what I mean? And he used to come and watch me when I was in a band, and used to always, you know, all the way through all this, used to say, have you got any of your own songs? So I used to send them to him, and he's like, why don't you release them? And since I've started doing my own music, like, the blue corner of my mates have proper got behind me because they're made up that they can come and see me sing where I'm not singing LA and stuff like that. Now, I probably will still do the Liverpool stuff because, well, I am a full-time musician at the moment in time, and it comes to, like, some of the Liverpool things that I've had, like, you'll be able to relate to it. Like, I get to travel sometimes with, you know what I mean, with the players. I get to stay in the hotels with the players. I've been for a pint and a bifter with Jürgen Klopp, do you know what I mean? In New York, at like 3 o'clock in the morning, you know what I mean? And like, no cameras, no nothing, sat there with them, cracked on, you know what I mean? Like, they're moments in my life that, like, I'll never forget, playing to 60,000 people, and like, there might be a time when I can do all that stuff through my own stuff, but it's a slow build, you know what I mean? So, while I'm able to go and do these things and see these, I've been to India and played. I've played a gig in India, in Delhi. Do you know what I mean? Like, these are things that, like, I like, you know, I wouldn't like to write myself off, but I probably, you know, being really honest about it, wouldn't have the chance to do that with my own music. You know what I mean? People in Delhi don't listen to We Get By. Do you know what I mean? Because it's a different sort of life. And so I will still do the Liverpool songs because those Liverpool fans that never turn me back on them, and some of them do really, really love me. Do you know what I mean? For every Everton fan that really, really, really hates me. Do you know what I mean? Not like yourselves. Do you know what I mean? There's good lads who are like, who can, don't get me wrong, hate the Liverpool stuff. Don't, by and large, I'm gutted that you've won 3 games out of 3. Do you know what I mean? That's what football is. You know what I mean? It's football rivalry. But when I'm singing songs about working class life and about stuff that I know half of them have been through and lived through and are still going through,
connects with us, isn't it? The whole working class life thing.
It's just I'm just writing about people like us, and it's just because you support Liverpool or you support Everton. Sorry, but you support Everton and I support Liverpool. Doesn't mean that we can't have some common interest and some common. You know what I mean? We're all people at the end of the day, and we've all grew up in this place with this shitty government. Do you know what I mean? Trying to make our way. And that's what it's all about. So when I do get blues come up to me and say, lad, you know what, lad, I'm a blue, but fucking hell, that tune, lad, or that album, or, you know what I mean, I'm coming to see it, and, you know, I've got tickets to come. It, in a way, it means more because you're like, you know what I mean, like me music, I'm obviously...
It's like you've earned them fans.
Yeah, exactly.
If you just like LA and stuff, you're going to like it anyway. But like, you've written that, haven't you?
Yeah,
like,
I think the Liverpool fans sort of buy into me as a person. Do you know what I mean? Right, like, not all of them. There's loads of musos, like people who are into the tunes at the match, like you know. Do you know what I mean? Music is a big part of match going culture. Do you know what I mean? So football fans do like music. Do you know what I mean? But because of, like, certainly like the bigger aspects of it all, it's, you know, because he's that lad, he's got loads of passion for Liverpool, and like, I love what he's done, so I'm going to support him anyway because he's a good guy, and I think he's a good guy. It's only when you meet me they find out I'm a knobhead, do you know what I mean? Like, you know, he's a good guy, he's sound, you know, and we, you know, I get behind him. Some of them, like, likewise, they like that and they like me tunes, but when, like, you know, Evertonians from the offset, you know what I mean? No, Jamie Webster's releasing his own tunes, you've automatically, it's got to be half decent, or it's got to grab them in some way, because they're not going to be looking at it. Do you know what I mean? And I understand that, and I do understand that, and that is the battle, in not just with Everton fans in the city, it's also a battle throughout the country. Everyone hates Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? They do. Like, and people, not everyone hates Scousers, because there's a lot of people. I've got loads of friends from different places, and you know, they've got nothing but nice words to say about people from Liverpool. It's once they know them, it's different. But you know, by and large, Scousers have an enigma about them, and they have like traits and, you know, throwaway remarks all over the country, and that's the battle as well. Do you know what I mean? Because I think say if you're a working class band from Manchester, you'd automatically next Stone Roses, next Oasis. You know what I mean? Like, that sort of vibe. You know what I mean? But no, I'm very, very grateful that like blues are you know what I mean, just listening to the music and saying, you know what, fair enough, like, I'm into that. There's nothing wrong with that, a tune's a tune. I don't mind a bit of Elton John, do you know what I mean? On the slide, but it doesn't mean I'd sit, you know what I mean? It doesn't mean I'd sit down and, like, do you know what I mean? Do whatever with them, do you know what I mean? It is what it is, but yeah, I still will do the Liverpool tunes, but like, what my main focus is now.
Yeah.
This, do you know what I mean?
Do, like, say we went to a gig, for example, like, would there be separate gigs for, like, would you do a Liverpool tune at a gig for your album?
No, never. No, that's the big battle, you see, because it's not only crossing over to other fans, it's also letting the Liverpool fans know, because I do get comments off Liverpool fans as well, why are you doing all this, do you know what I mean? Like, we need a new song for Thiago, you know what I mean? And you're like, yeah, alright lads, whatever, we can't get in the ground and sing them, do you know what I mean? But no, every post I do about me tours and that are like my own stuff, it's always, I'd love for people to not see any red or Liverpool on the poster and go, oh, that's obviously something different. I always, like, anything with my own stuff, you'll notice all the promo, everything, there's no red on anything, because like, even we're doing like a live album from Past Streets where I've done like a, you know, with me and the lads who play in my bands, and we're doing like a live vinyl for Christmas and stuff like that. And like, we had the artwork back and there was a big red Jamie Webster on, and I said, like, you're gonna have to take it off, because people, not even just for like you lads who were going, oh, that's red, it might be something to do with Liverpool, for the Liverpool fans to go, you know what I mean, I'm gonna buy that because You'll Never Walk Alone might be on it, and then it's not,
and then they're like disappointed it's not.
Exactly. So that's like the that's the big part of the crossover. Like, when I post about my normal gigs, it's like, nah, like, no footy songs, and like, you get the people saying, oh, won't you just play one or two? I say no, like, come down to a boss night, come down to Jamie Webster performs with Ian Rush, or, you know, like, whatever, anything that's got Liverpool plastered all over it, you put two and two together, I'm probably going to be playing Liverpool songs, do you know what I mean? If it's around a match day, do you know what I mean? Like, before the game, around that, whatever, then I do play a mixture, but when I do me proper tours, me proper gigs, they are just my own tunes.
Have you ever had a bad reaction at a gig because you've played no Liverpool songs?
Yeah, Murder in Dublin.
Really? Yeah.
Broke my foot. Honestly, that broke my foot a bit weird, that just coming from that. But like, what happened was, like, for my own tunes, I play with a band. I have a band behind me, and like, when I walk out onto that stage with the band, done like a mini tour in Feb, and it was my first time playing with the band since I was like 15. And like, before I was going on stage, there was like a few small groups of people singing Liverpool songs before I come on. I don't think they were singing it to entice me to play a Liverpool song. I think they were just like, because they were at a Webster gig, that's what they're used to doing. Do you know what I mean? I just don't think it was like anything in it. My mate who I was talking about phoned me up from saying, tell these fucking red cunts to shut up. And I was going, what do you want me to do? I'm backstage, I can't, you know what I mean? Like, there's no Liverpool songs getting played from me, but I can't stop fucking 200 people in the, you know what I mean? He's like, you best tell them that. Tell your manager to tell them, and all that. What's he gonna do, do you know what I mean? But got out on the stage, and I think when people see me walk out with a band, they go, well, he's never done that before with the Liverpool stuff, so like, yeah, it is different. But the next night I went to Dublin, but I only decided to play with a band like 3 weeks before the tour, do you know what I mean? Because we realised that we needed that backing to make it sound bigger and make it sound like the records and everything else. And they couldn't come to Dublin because there was a rugby match on over there, and like, it wasn't feasible to get them over there, you know what I mean? Like, would have been in debt after 3 gigs, you know what I mean? Like, in a unnecessary big bit of debt. So I was like, alright, well, the band will play in Liverpool, and then you'll get, when I fly into London from Dublin on the Sunday, it was Liverpool Friday, Dublin Saturday, London Sunday, when I fly into London, get them up in a van on the morning of, and we'll meet there, and then whatever. So Dublin, they weren't coming, and I walked out onto the stage from the green room, and I just spotted straight away like people in Liverpool tops and that, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh, you know what I mean? This is a bit like, and then people started going like Liverpool and all that. When I was walking on, my mate who was the Evertonian was there again, do you know what I mean? And I was like, loads of my mates came, blues and reds, do you know what I mean? But like, there was not everyone. I've got mates from Ireland who were like looking forward to hearing my own tunes, and like, I'd plastered it everywhere, no footy songs, do you know what I mean? Don't buy a ticket. Next thing, like, small stars, just played the first song, played Then Living for Yesterday, which was the second single that had just been released like the week before. Good reaction, sound, happy days. We sort Then next thing, play the Firmino song, or the Van Dijk song, and I went, just gonna address this issue now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's no football songs tonight, I'm sorry. I have said it, you know what I mean? I said, if you're expecting Liverpool songs and that's all you've come here for, then like you may as well leave now because it's not happening, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thanks for, I'm sorry our wires are being crossed, whatever. Next thing, this woman jumps up on the stage and goes like, you are playing Liverpool songs. I said, no love, I'm not.
It gets on the stage?
On the stage, yeah.
What that?
And I said, no love, I'm not, can you get off the stage please? Don't know where security were or like that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, no love, like you don't, like, it's not that sort. I paid for a boss night. I said you didn't because there's no boss night banner behind me. There's no boss night banner on the top. The tickets say Jamie Webster. It doesn't say boss night. You know what I mean? Like I've just released a single. It's like I look again on the posts. Do you know what I mean? Like she grabs like a 32 amp commando socket. You know, like and goes like, I'm gonna pull this now.
Yeah.
If you don't play a Liverpool song.
Fucking hell.
I was like, you're not gonna pull anything. You know. So then like my mates all start going like, fucking get down, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like family or whatever start kicking and murder in the crowd.
Yeah.
Me birds in the middle of it all, like trying to, you know what I mean? This big, looked like Sheamus, the wrestler. You ever seen him? Yeah. And he was steaming towards me bird, not obviously to hit me bird, like probably to get at me mate behind me, but me bird's in the way, and I'm thinking if he fucking knocks me birds over, I'm putting his guitar over his head, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's going on? You know, like, fucking stop it, will you? Just calm down. Nightmare. Played, like, got calmed down, bouncers come, useless bouncers come, nothing even happened, didn't even kick no one out, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, played through it, awkward next, you know what I mean, hour or so.
Yeah, it must have been hard, that.
Yeah, but like, even, like, the set was 10 songs, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because it was my own songs, do you know what I mean? It was roughly short of an hour. And like, they would go, like, but then, like, people, because when I play for boss nights and that, play for 2 hours, do you know what I mean? So, like, people go, so I ended up playing covers and that, do you know, like, to try and, like, to try, play, like, 3-4 extra covers. Next thing, like, my mood was, like, you know what I mean, it was horrible. Like, one of my mates was looking at me in the crowd and you could see it from him that he knew that it weren't, like, one of those nights, that it was a good night. Not like the night before, which was unbelievable, you know what I mean? I had the crowd, all words for me songs that weren't released, he was singing.
Did still in Dublin the night before?
No, in Liverpool, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The difference. And then, like, remember going down the stairs, like, to go off the stage, and as the door was shutting behind me, some fella goes, "You're a fucking rip-off, Jamie," and I was just seeing red, ran back up the stairs, and the bouncers shut the door on me, so fucking, like, you know, booting and kicking fuck out the door, but like as hard as I could, like, adrenaline was for me bed, was trying to pull me off. I think I threw my bed halfway down the stairs, like, you know, like, trying to boot the door. I was going, fucking open the door, get him out, you know what I mean? I've fucking livid.
Yeah.
You've just put all that into it, played through hell, and then someone calls you a rip-off as the door's shutting on you, you know what I mean? I seen his face, and I was like, the bouncer obviously didn't open the door, and like, someone come from round the other way, calm me down, put me in the green room and that, and like, about half an hour later, my foot just started throbbing, and I broke like my metatarsal in like my toes and that, just limped around the airport the next morning, and then played in Dublin, in London then, but the London gig was boss, do you know what I mean? A couple of people come up to me in London, like, oh, like, you know, we're Liverpool fans from down south, any chance of a Liverpool song? And I was like, listen, this is before the gig, listen, I had murder last night with all this, please, like, I'm not playing Liverpool songs, I'm trying to get something off the ground here. Like, I'm so thankful for your support. I've had some of the best experiences in my life, best days of my life, doing what I do with people like you know what I mean? Thank you for everything. Like, you know, I'm not going anywhere, there will still be Liverpool gigs, you know what I mean? It's like, it is me bread and butter, do you know what I mean? Don't be worrying, I love the opportunities I get from it, I love doing it. And they were like, fine, yeah, no worries. Well, do you know what, good luck tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing what else you've got then, you know what I mean? And then, like, at the end of the gig, a couple of those people come up to me at the end and were like, you know what, I didn't even want you to play Liverpool song halfway through that set because I was enjoying it that much, do you know what I mean? So, yeah, there is still, like...
You'd expect it to be a problem, though?
Yeah. It's one of them things, you've come... I still get, like... You say that with Liverpool fans, I still get Liverpool fans calling me all the dickheads under the sun on Twitter, do you know what I mean? And like...
You get that with everything, don't you?
Yeah, it's part of it, you know what I mean? For every 10 nice comments, you get 1 negative comment. But, you know, I used to let it get to me. I used to, like, get wound up thinking, like, lads my own age talking about me as if I'm sort of strap-on. Do you know what I mean? And they don't know me.
Yeah.
They don't know me for shit, you know what I mean? They don't know who me mates are. Some of me mates are massive blues.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They don't know, like, none of that. Don't know what I do behind the scenes for charity. All the sick kids and shit that you go and see. All that side of it, they don't see it. But you know, they'll make a mockery out of you on Twitter, like as if you know.
That's the worst Twitter for stuff,
and you're like, you know, if you see me in the street, lad, you'd probably look twice, clock who I was, and walk the other way and think horrible cunt. You know what I mean? But you wouldn't say all that. Do you know what I mean? That's what used to wind me up. But now, like, thanks to me management and like me birds, me family, particularly me family, me mum and dad, like just sort of saying, look, this is going to be part of it. You know, you just like, if anything, take it as a compliment to people that wound up with the fucking talking about you and shit like that. But it's easier said than done. But I am now at that point where I can look at things and ignore them and half laugh about them, and every now and again I might give someone a bit of shit back for a bit of a laugh. You know what I mean? But I'm not sat there frothing at the mouth anymore like I used to be. You know what I mean?
I think people see it like when you do well and that. It's like you're like not human anymore. So you can just say anything to you.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen it with the footballers. Like I've seen like for example, Lazar Markovic, remember Markovic, that player we signed? Like he hardly kicked the ball for Liverpool. He's from Serbia, you know what I mean? Poor country, like, and he was on a pre-season tour, and like he was in his first class seat and that, you know what I mean? And like he put a picture up all made up, you know what I mean? And like Liverpool fans started terrorising him, you know what I mean? Like he was 22 at the time or something, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What the like full grown fellas, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? On there, you shouldn't be on that tour, you're shite, you know what I mean? You're like, and like, I see him looking at Twitter, do you know what I mean? When I'm not, I see them, and you think, nah, like, obviously they get paid a lot of money to do what they're not saying I get paid that fucking money because I fucking don't, believe me, but like, they get paid a lot of money to do what they do, and it's part of the fame, but like, sometimes it's just fucking unnecessary, do you know what I mean? That's the, like, if you don't like someone, that's your opinion, and like that's what's boss about the world, and that everyone's different and people like different things. If we all like the same thing, it'd be boring. It's good to have controversy, but it's like to go out of your way, do you know what I mean, to try and make someone's day bad, do you know what I mean? It's like, I understand it when people are like 16 to 19 and you don't really have like a consciousness of what you're doing, but once you get a bit older, you think,
like grown fellas and
lads I'm 26 years of age, you know what I mean? There's lads around my age who, you know what I mean? And their life is fucking putting people down on the internet, man. It's just mad. But don't want to get too hung up on that, like, you know what I mean? But there's ups and downs of it, but thankfully, like yourselves, there's lads like yourselves who you aren't like that, and you see things for what they are, and you know, I'm massively appreciative for that, you know what I mean? Really am.
So I'm going back to the album, like when did you start writing it? And like, I sort of want to break down the songs in a way, like what it means to you and stuff.
I can probably go through the songs and tell you when about I've written them, because like your first album's your life work, you know what I mean? Like some of them songs I wrote when I was 19, and some of them I wrote, well, about 2/3 of them I've probably written in the last 8 months, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So like, for example, Down the Road, that was one that was written in like, since I signed my record deal in like from June to say in the last year.
Yeah.
Living for Yesterday was before that. I wrote it about 2 years ago. Change I wrote when I was 19. Stop Living Blind I wrote in the last 18 months. Out on the Street I wrote like 2 weeks before recorded it for the album. It wasn't meant to be on the album, and wrote it and said, maybe it's one for album 2, and the manager was like, nah, if it's good, it's a good tune, put it on your first album, do you know what I mean? Simple. The Joker was another one in the last year. Something's Got to Give the last year. This Place I wrote about 2 years ago when I first started travelling, you know, like to play gigs, and like while I was having a boss time, just like missed being at home.
That's my favourite song off the album though.
It's like, mate, it's one of them where you're like, you know, this is fucking great, I'm in New York here, like, do you know what I mean, it's boss, but like, I couldn't stay here, do you know what I mean, like, it's not me, there's these, like, you know what I mean, you're letting on to people in the street like you do here, even if you don't know them, you smile at people and that, don't you, you know, like, you're alright love, how you doing, you know what I mean, how do you need a hand with that, and there's none of that in places like that, you know what I mean, and it's like,
it is relatable though, like the whole album in general. But like for example, this is going to sound a bit cringy, but like I listen to This Place because like I live like outside Liverpool for uni, And like, it sort of reminds you of like, you know, a home type thing, and I wonder if it sounds stupid, but...
No, it does, and that's exactly what it's supposed to do. It's like, no matter where you go in the world, no matter what you do, like, what is it you're doing in uni?
Sports psychology.
Psychology. So say you go and work for Barcelona one day, yeah? Do you know,
Hopefully.
like, yeah, do you know what I mean? You never know, lad, do you? But, like, say you go and work for Barcelona one day.
Yeah.
Like, your work ethic and, like, everything that you've gained, like, as a person and academically as well, part of it's down from your education, but that education comes from being a young lad growing up in the city and having the values that, like, your ma and dad hold, and you know what I mean, that you've been raised on, and that's down to where you're from. And no matter, you might be fucking great to sit there at the new camp one day looking at the next Messi, like saying, well, I've sorted him out there. You know, he had a psychological block there. He hasn't scored in 2 months, but I've sat down with him and now he's banging them in. And you could be on top of the world, do you know what I mean? But like, just still have that. Hopefully, you still have that thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Liverpool's still like.
I think it helps a lot though. You probably found it yourself. Like, we got a lot of support. I mean, look at other podcasts that are probably like, you could even like argue the better than us or whatever. But because we're from here, people support each other all I find. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it starts like it's not charity, but charity starts at home anyway, in my opinion. But support always starts at home. You look at Jerry Cinnamon, what he's done in like the past 3 years.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, but that didn't happen without him taking the first gig he done in the O2 Academy just before we went to Kiev in like 2018. I went and seen him. Been listening to him since like 2015, and that O2 Academy sold out on the day of the gig. Yeah. Wouldn't happen now. They sold out in a second. Yeah. But 60% of the people in there were Scottish, and they'd all got buses down.
Yeah.
And they were all supporting a lad from by then. You know what I mean? And like, that's where it all starts. You look at bands like the Snuts, who were doing boss stuff at the minute. Yeah. They sold out the Arts Club. Majority of people in there were jocks. They took 2 coaches down. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's where it starts. You look at these big bands, they've always had the following from the mates and the people in the city getting behind them, because it's like, they want a man. You know what I mean? But like, this place it's defo like, it was like, yeah, I'm having a boss time and like life's good, but like still not like, you know what I mean? Like, it's all because of where I've come from, and like I am the person I am today, partially, mainly because of this place. You know what I mean? Grinding the Gears was another one in the last year. Common People at it when I was about 20. Weekends in Paradise about 2 years ago, and then We Get By was one that had it like in the last year as well. Do you know what I mean? But did you want to go through the tunes and like what they're about? Or?
Yeah, I'll go through a few of them, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. You name them.
What would you say your favourite is from the album?
Probably We Get By, you know.
Yeah.
Probably We Get By, yeah.
We Get By is my favourite's the joke here, but We Get By is my second favourite, yeah, without a doubt. It's about like, it's pretty self-explanatory in it, but it come to me one day, you know the line about tons of people queuing for the gyro check on Walton Breck. I was driving down Walton Breck Road, like we've all done it, you know what I mean, when it's just nearly 12 o'clock and they're all waiting for the gyro, and like obviously they're going to go and take that money out and spend it there, and then, do you know what I mean? And like obviously, and I was thinking about that, because obviously they're the people who were like obviously less fortunate, addicted to drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. Those are the people I was looking at. But then I was thinking about it, like, well, we all sort of have that struggle, but just in a better way. Do you know what I mean? Like like, whereas they just they'll take all that, they'll get up, get their eye, get the fix, whatever, and then that'll be them. Then they'll muddle through until they next get that fix. But whereas ours isn't too much different from it, because like we'll work for a living, or you study, and you'll pay your bills, you'll do what you need to do so that you can keep doing what you're doing. But then what you've got left, you do go out and you treat yourself, you enjoy yourself. You have those. It's about escape, isn't it? It's about escaping like the normality, the norm, the daily grind. Just to quote Joe from the Rats, do you know what I mean? And so it's about like escapism. That song. It's about like, you know what? Yeah, life is hard at times, but you enjoy the good times just as much as you work through the bad times. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, like at the end of it all, we deal with a lot of shit, but we do get by and we do make the most of it. And you know what, life's not that bad. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, any form of life, whatever sort of life you're living, it's not that, you know, majorly speaking, for people like us. Do you know what I mean? We can find ways to get through it by escaping of a weekend and shit like that. And it sort of brings through in Weekends in Paradise as well, but that's more the question of like, if it works for you, going out and partying, and you've had one of those weekends that you remember and you'll talk about, and you'll see a lad who you had one of those weekends where you haven't seen him for a year, and you'll see him and you remember him from that night, and you go, lad, that night when you know what I mean, and you go, that's it. If it's one of those nights, it's one of those sound, do you know what I mean? Like that's what life's all about, having them moments. But if it's one of them nights where you sat there in a flat until 7 bell, chewing your lips, do you know what I mean? And you're like, and then you go home, you think, I've got no dough. You know what I mean? I've spent all my dough there. You know, I feel like shit for 3 days. And then you think to yourself, what happened that night? You know what I mean? What went on?
Yeah.
Like, was it even worth it? Like, nah. We've all had the nights where you think, that was a pointless night out, that, you know what I mean? Well, I've just done that for the sake of it, you know what I mean? And like, I haven't even had a good, can't tell you anything that happened. We were fucking watching, you know what I mean? We were watching Joe Rogan fucking till 7 in the morning, talking conspiracy theories that aren't even real. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying they're all not real, but you get what I'm on about, and that's sort of the album to sum up's about the struggles, joys and escapes of working class life, innit, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's the sort of logic behind behind the lyrics where it says the stairs in London are a mess. Me mate bought a house in Anfield and he'd been doing it up for ages, and every time I wired it for him because it was when I was still doing me sparking, and every time how's the house coming on, lad? He'd go, sound lad, sound, just need to sort my stairs and landing out there for a mess, do you know what I mean? And he kept, and 3 months would go by and I go, how's the house, lad? And he'd go, oh yeah, it's sound, just getting these stairs and landing, so you know what I mean? Like, so it was like a little throw towards him, you know what I mean? Like the stairs and landing and mess and that, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's what we get by, like.
Yeah, what about Stop Living Blind? I'd say that's probably the most relevant to now, with everything which is going on and all that.
Yeah, I think it's just like, you know, say it's about media, social media sometimes. Yeah. Not the 10 Pint podcast, obviously, but like, you know, social media and like certain news channels, well, most news channels, you know what I mean? They give you what they want you to see, even reality TV. That's on there because they want people to sort of follow suit, you know what I mean? Yeah. You see, the reality TV shows are sponsored by everything under the sun. There's a different bit in between it all, and there's all these bottles and this drink and that. And it's like, it's all about consumer, you know, it's all about making you consuming. If you've watched The Social Dilemma recently on Netflix, I've only watched a little bit of it, but it's sort of Stop Living Blind in a nutshell, do you know what I mean? Where it's like, they're forcing things on you and making you think that that's real life. Yeah. And it's not. Do you know what I mean? Look at the Kardashians. They had a fucking television show for 20 odd years. The best thing that's happened in the last 20 odd years is that show being took off television. Do you know what I mean? Because no, listen, there was this statistic the other day that like suicide in girls between the ages of like, what, I don't know, like 14 and 25, it's rocketed bigger than it's ever been. There's never been an increase in suicide like this in the past few years, and it's down to shit like that and shit like Love Island, where girls, young girls, are seeing all these filters on Instagram and all these reality TV shows where, you know, people are getting up in the morning and getting the makeup done by a makeup artist, and you know what I mean, and they've got a walk-in wardrobe and they've got fucking $3,000 shoes and a fucking bowl on their head that's worth fucking $7,000, you know what I mean? And you're like, and they're like, yeah, that's what, you know, that's what you should be like. And they model themselves and they judge other people on not being like that. No one's fucking like, they're not even like that. Real, you know what I mean? They're not even like that. And like, that's what winds me up for even like music and that, you know what I mean? Some of the tunes that are out there commercialised, it's like fucking shite, do you know what I mean? It doesn't tell a story, doesn't give you any insight on anything. It's a load of shit, and you can probably tell how passionate I am about this sort of shit. But like, it's just false. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't make your perspective be by fucking all that shit. You know what I mean? Like, literally go out to places, talk to people, see things. Do you know what I mean? Feel things yourself. Don't like look at someone and go, oh, I wonder what that feels like, you know what I mean? Go and fucking have you know what I mean? Yeah. There's a million things you can feel in the world, there's a million different things you can do, and you can't even argue that you can't, you know, for example, we could say that, like, it's not like, but we could say that this was the best fucking hour of our lives, do you know what I mean? And like, someone else would say, nah, I've done this and it was better, but it was better to you, but to us, this was the best night of our lives, do you know what I mean? And just because they tell you that it's great, it doesn't mean that it is. Do you know what I mean? You might stories of people who've been driven by money. Some of the richest people in the world, some of the unhappiest people in the world, people who've been driven by money all their lives, and like, you know, I want money, I've come from nothing, I want money, and they get it, and they're like, fuck, I'm not happy here. Do you know what I mean?
It's like Tyson Fury, innit?
Yeah.
Like, he wanted to be world champion all his life, he reached it, and he's went to the lowest he's ever been after it.
Yeah, because it's like, it's you know, just go out and live your life, and just gain your own perspective, be your own person, is what that song's about, you know what I mean? Stop living. You're watching a load of things, but it's blinding you to reality. Do you know what I mean? And that's what to be honest, that was one that I wasn't sure about putting on the album, because it's a bit slower, and funny enough, that's the song I was going to play tonight, because I haven't got a guitar player with me, and it's a picking one. Do you know what I mean? But like that, it doesn't have to be like they say it is, basically. Do you know what I mean? And just to anyone who might be listening who feels like that they may be sort of pushed into a corner by certain, you know, false realities and media and whatever, do you know what I mean? Don't let it shape who you are. Forget about your suggestions. If it's suggested for you, you don't need a fucking phone or a television or a laptop to tell you what's best for you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's Stop Living Blind. Yeah.
And then you've got Something's Gotta Give. I think that's quite relevant as well. The music video for that's boss as well.
Yeah, it's Sam Croston, he's a young lad from Manchester actually. He does a lot of stuff for the label. I gave him a sort of brief of what I wanted it to be like, and said like, this across the pond, the king was a freak, it's got to be Trump, and the first bit before that's got to be Boris. Do you know what I mean? And I said, like, just go with it from then on. They're literally the bullet points I give him, just so he got that, captured that, and then he's done a boss job with it. But yeah, I wrote it around the time of Brexit. Do you know what I mean? Like, like when it was finally sort of sealed, and it was like Donald Trump and Boris Johnson. These two people are ruling the world.
Idiots.
The clowns. Do you know what I mean? They wouldn't look out of place in a clown suit, would they? You know what I mean? The pair of them, they look like they're wearing them half the time now. Do you know what I mean? But honestly, like, I seen a video of Boris Johnson today on the news at a college in like somewhere north, with a load of bricklayers. What the fuck does he know about bricklaying, and what's he got in common with bricklayers? He fucking doesn't give two shits about people like them. Do you know what I mean? He wants to crush people like them. You know what I mean? Well, no, I'm one of the lads. Go to work. And it's like, how the fuck is he in charge of the... What fucking morons went Jeremy Corbyn? All right, yeah, he's a bit out there, like, but he's fucking passionate about what he's saying. Do you know what I mean? And then this fella, we're going to get our country back, and you know, and you're thinking, like, this, he's a fucking horror. Do you know what I mean? The shit, he was like David Cameron's a few years ago, before Theresa. He was David Cameron's laughingstock of a right-hand bodyguard or something, you know what I mean? Like, he was almost like David Cameron's little pet, who he used to bring with him for a laugh. Do you know what I mean? Because he was just entertaining, and now he's ended up being one of the most powerful people in the world, alongside Donald Trump, who's a fucking real estate agent. Let's not forget, you know what I mean? He sold property. He didn't, like,
I don't get why he wants to be president, Tim.
Because he can.
Like, I couldn't think of anything worse if you've got all that money to then get all that responsibility.
Apparently, well, there's a rumour that because he wasn't the most highest paid person on CBS or something stupid like that, someone he said, do you realise how important I am that you're giving him more money for me? I could be the president if I wanted to. Apparently, what was it called? Fahrenheit 9/11. Watch it. I'm not saying it's something, but it's about like what happened in that election, basically, and like
documentary on him.
And it's like the when he comes out for his acceptance speech, he's not half expecting it. I think he'd done the run for a bit of a laugh, and then he's like, fucking, I'll do it, you know what I mean? Like, what have I got to lose? I'm here now, aren't I? You know what I mean? But it was about that, and just like the frustration that, like, people, like the working class people like us, your everyday average Joe, constantly are suffering for their fuck-ups, you know what I mean? Their lack of clue on what to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, this Brexit thing was... What did it all come from in the first place? Why does anyone know why they brought it in? No, do you know what I mean? Because they just want to be, because they want more money for themselves, because we were giving money to people who needed it across the world every week or every whatever, and they didn't want to do that no more. Do you know what I mean? But like, let's not forget the European. If it weren't for the EU, like as people from Liverpool, Probably why we all voted to remain. But like, if it weren't for the EU, yeah, see that fucking boss waterfront that we've got there in the city, we wouldn't have it. Wouldn't be there because, by our own governments, the British government, compared to Manchester in the past few years, our funding's been cut 80% compared to Manchester's had 80% more funds pumped into it than we have. Yeah. The only reason we've had over the past 20 years all this success, our city was in fucking disrepair in the 80s, do you know what I mean? The arse end of the 80s, we're in a nice place to look at, do you know what I mean? And now we've got all these boss things going on, thanks to the capital of culture, European capital of culture, which put Everton into us, the EU, do you know what I mean? Like, we'd be lost, the EU have given us massive help, so there's people in Europe that need our help now, you know what I mean? Now it's all about us. And that's ultimately what it come down to. But then they played the race card and started saying, but all these people are coming into our country and we want to stop that, and this is the only way we can do it. And the older generation who have never ever, it's a different time for them, you know what I mean? I'm not blaming them because it's not their fault, because it's what they're told again, what's being pushed towards them. But like, they're like, he's right, they're right, do you know what I mean? Like, you can't get a doctor's appointment and all that, and there's more people here than there ever has been. There's more people in the world than there ever has been. It's not just their fault, you know what I mean? You know what, mate, if your back garden was getting bombed every day, do you know what I mean? What would you want? Would you want to stay there?
Yeah,
what
exactly.
Would you do? While my house is being bombed down, I'll just stay here in a tent instead. Nah, you know what I mean? You want to go somewhere where your kids can have a fucking better life. And it's about just all that, the frustration. But obviously during the lockdown, what come with the Black Lives Matter stuff and all the shit that was going on in America, like, and people were rioting and protesting, rightly so, and we just thought, like, it was a bit of a strange one. I didn't want to take advantage of the situation because it was obviously there's serious shit going on over there, but at the same time, if we can raise a bit of awareness, do you know what I mean? And like the songs, even though it was written about Brexit and stuff like that, what we were going, it matched everything perfectly. It just couldn't, it felt like it was written 5 minutes before it was released, do you know what I mean?
I thought that about some of them. Like, they seem relevant to what's going on now. It's like you've written it during COVID.
Yeah, like, it was, that album was recorded, the last session of that album was done the day before we went into lockdown. So like, it was all done. But that's what Bob Dylan, like, he's my fucking hero. He's like the one for me, you know what I mean? And like, if you listen to like All Right Ma, It's Only Bleeding, it's like a 7-minute long song about like governments and politics and like what you're taught in school and like what you're shown to make you think a certain way. And he wrote it in the 70s, and I listened to that when I was like 19 years of age, and the hairs were standing up on my neck. And like, I was like, when did he write this song? This is about what's going on in the world now. And I think if you write things in the right way, because things haven't really changed that much, you know what I mean? It's still the same, not literally, but like the way things are governed, it's still similar. There's still corruption all over the place, do you know what I mean?
I think Imagine's like that, by John Lennon. That's still relevant now. A lot of the Beatles songs do.
Yeah, they are. That's the beauty of a great song. They're timeless. It's like Only Fools and Horses. Do you know what I mean? It's timeless. You can watch it like Pete Phoenix Night, shit like that, for people like us. No matter what era that's in, that shit still goes on, you know what I mean? It's just about working class life, that's what it is. And those songs that are about life and everyday life, they're the ones that stand the test of time. Don't be wrong, a cracking love song, like, they stick out forever, you know what I mean? That's Elton John, like I said. But other than that, like, songs that are real, you know what I mean? Real songs would be that have, like, you can tell when he sat down writing them words, he felt every word, and when he sang that song, he felt every note, you know what I mean? He felt like he put himself into it. They're the best songs for me. Like, people have their opinions, you know what I mean? Some people just like a catchy number that they can dance to, and that's cool. Everyone's got opinions, but for me, like, you'll never, like, you might hear me writing a love song because love is something that you feel, do you know what I mean? But you'll never hear me writing a song about, sipping champagne when we thirsty. And, Biggie was great, you know what I mean? I love Biggie, he was a pioneer and stuff like that. But, like, that's like, people have took that. Like, Biggie was talking, what I'm saying is Biggie was talking about, like, where he's come from to where he's got from, where he got to. But, like, you get these people who are, like, talking about this high life and, in the club with me guys and girls and shit. It's like, nah, mate, that's not me, do you know what I mean? Like, you never hear, like, a poppy song that doesn't really mean anything for me, because it's not, for me, music should always be, like, something that, like, you feel, something that you've seen, something that you've experienced. It should tell a story in some way, you know what I mean? It should have a concept behind it, and like that, like, I can't write any other way. I just can't. Some of the new tunes I've demoed this week, knocked six demos out, and like I can't write a line that's just got like 4 or 5 words in. It's like Eminem almost, some of it now, you know what I mean, because I've got that much to say. You can probably tell from me talking to you, once you start me, you can't stop me. Do you know what I mean? And like that's my method. I've got so much to say about certain things that like that'll always shine through my music. They might always be like over lyricked, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Like, whereas, but that's just me, you know what I mean? And I'm made up the people I've got behind it.
How long did it take to record the album?
It's mad because like I've done some of it in singles, so like Weekend of Paradise was done like in 2 days. You know, like recorded in 2 days, and then like left it a few weeks, and then Living for Yesterday was recorded in 2 days again. This Place recorded in 2 days. This Place was supposed to be released in March when Liverpool won the league, because we had a deal with the Premier League, you know, the video that went out. That was supposed to sort of happen in March, but and like for me that video done unbelievable things for the single, like, because I released it about a week before the video went out, and like the numbers and the streaming patterns and that were really, well, not really low, but they weren't as big. And then once that went out, it went absolutely low. I've never seen, like, on my Spotify, I've never seen like numbers so quick. And like, so we didn't want to release it in March and it get lost then. Do you know what I mean? And like, that's when then we got in, recorded Grinding the Gears and Common People. That took like 2 days each. Do you know what I mean? But then like we get by down the road and something's got to give. We're done in like a 3-day session. Do you know what I mean, with the band? And then likewise with Out on the Street, The Joker, and what was that? Stop Living Blind. And there was another one as well. No, that was it. And Change. Change. They were done in like 3 or 4 days. Do you know what I mean? Just like a big session, get them out. To be fair, the band, Change, Out on the Street, the band had never heard before the day that they went into the studio, and like they just, that's the good. Like, I have session musicians, so like my drummer plays for the Lightning Seeds. She drew the gun and the choral sometimes. My bass player like produces demos with the choral and like texts for them, and plays sax for the Lightning Seeds and texts for them. And then my guitarist, Danny's a blue, went to school with Danny, proper good mate of mine. He's played for the choral, James Kelly's own stuff. Mick Eddy plays with all the time. David Edgar in the Stairs. He's the proper session head, do you know what I mean? And they just done it with them for a week. Then having them, they've made, like, obviously the words and that have come from me, and like what I'm trying to, the story I'm trying to tell is my story that I've put together, but the music behind it, it's like Par Street, Chris Taylor and Richard Turvey, producers on them, have just been like I've recorded as a young musician and that with different people, kids coming out of university and stuff like that, who are obviously going to get better, and even some producers who were actually producers, but like I went into a room with these fellas and like they're just like different gravy. That's why like Rich produced the Blossoms album. It's like Chris works on the Latin stuff now, do you know what I mean? It's like they are the best in the business in this city. And like the band that I've got behind me as well, like they just know music, do you know what I mean? And like they know, like they can hear a song once and they go, yeah, I know what I'm going to do with that. And like they're just on it. Like I've been so lucky, as well as working dead hard, I'm not going to lie to you, I've been so lucky to land the producers that I have, and for them musicians to make time for me, because they're very like pre-lockdown, they were like everywhere playing, you know what I mean? Like played Glasgow like 3 or 4 times, to play V festivals, play Tina. They're only my age, they're just that seasoned, do you know what I mean? Like the music is literally what they do and what they live for, and like they've made me a better musician, do you know what I mean? They made me a better musician, better songwriter. I know my way down the studio, like I know what I'm doing. Like I walked into this, I sang in pubs and sang Liverpool songs for most of my, until about 2 years ago. Do you know what I mean? I knew nothing about the music industry, didn't know anything really about recording, nothing about like how to market, promote yourself. I didn't even have social media. You know what I mean? Like I had an Instagram, I didn't have Twitter or Facebook because I didn't like it, you know what I mean? And like I knew I got tired to get that.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to just publishing. What the fuck's publishing? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's that? You know, it's something to do with syncs. Well, what are syncs? Do you know what I mean? I just didn't know nothing. And like being around the people that I have, they've sort of like walked me through it, holding me hand, and I'm proper grateful for it. And like I say, but it's nothing without the people getting behind it. You know what I mean? Music is nothing without those people in the crowd, with people listening. So like the fact that like it's related to lads like yous, it means honestly, it means the fact that like yous are blues as well. Like I didn't know that until I walked in here today. You know what I mean? And it was like it was a nice feeling that like yous have took an interest into the music and yous want to know about it. And honestly, lads, I really do thank you for that and everything. Like I'm talking about the musicians and the albums, but it's lads like yous and who are also putting the word out to people online and everyone. You know what I mean? Who's got behind the album, who's listened to it. People probably listened to it first and thought, you know what, I'll buy that. That's decent. That's worth buying. And like, it does. It means the world to you. It's why you do it. You know what I mean? And that's what's driving me now to do the second album and to make it as good, if I can, better than the first. And like, it's all the people who've got behind them. Like, fucking hell, people actually want to listen. Do you know what I mean? People want to listen to my songs, not just Liverpool. Like, people want to listen to me and like what I've got to say. And like, people obviously feel, you know, sometimes in the world you feel like you're all on your own. You think, fucking hell, is it just me who thinks like this, or is there more of us than I think? And obviously, like, the support I've received from the album makes me think that there's more of us than I thought, and like, it's nice to see. Do you know what I mean? And like, it's fucking. I know I've swore a lot, like I'm sorry about that. But yeah, no, it's been great. It's like I'm not one of those people who sort of thinks about things. I wouldn't sit there and go, I've done a top 10 album there. You know what I mean? Boss that. Like, I'm just like, what's next? But when I do get to sit and talk about it, and you realise like it's a nice feeling. Do you know what I mean?
You have a boss mentality on it, like you've like sort of show how grateful you are for like the support and that.
You've got to be, because you're not like football. There's a famous saying, football's nothing without fans. And we're starting to see that now, aren't we? You know what I mean?
It's just not the same.
All right, it's boss, like, you know what I mean? It's boss watching your team win a football match in any circumstance, but like it's not like the real thing. And music's the same. Music, I could have written a better song than Stairway to Heaven, but if no one's listening to it, what the fuck's the point of it being written? Do you know what I mean? True. I'm nothing without those people going, that's boss, that's I want to listen to it again. You know what I mean? If they didn't listen to them, I wouldn't be sat here talking to you. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So you're nothing without the people who've pushed you right from the start, and even the people who are jumping on as things are happening. You know what I mean? You're nothing without those people, and you need like artists. Some people's artists' biggest downfalls are when they start getting too big for the boots. Do you know what I mean? Like you could probably speak to a lot of other top 10 artists, do you know what I mean, who go, I'm not doing that podcast, do you know what I mean, or I'm not doing that, I'm not going to speak to him, no, I'm not, you know what I mean, I'm not doing this, no, well, I don't do that no more, you know what I mean, but like, that sort of shit's what got you to where you're at, so you start forgetting about it.
You found that with people that like are nowhere near as like successful as you, and it's like...
Yeah, I mean, I might be a bit of a fucker to get hold of, because lad, if you look at my WhatsApp, I've got about 170, 800, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a dozy fucker at the best of times on my phone, and like, that's why I have me management, you know what I mean? Because if I didn't have them, I'd probably seem like a cunt to a load of people, but I do genuinely do a lot, you know what I mean? And like, sometimes it's hard to keep on track with everything, but like, I've got to, lad, more than anything else, the fact that you want to talk to me is like, why wouldn't I talk to you? You know what I mean? Two lads from Liverpool want to talk to me about my music, of course. But like, the fact that like you just starting up a podcast and like without me sounding big-headed, do you know what I mean? I've had a decent year. I've got a bit of hype around me, you know what I mean? My social media is quite big, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I want to help you out, you know what I mean? Like, you know, when you see lads are saying like, get him on the podcast, I'll be posting about this podcast. I had a great chat with the two lads off the 10th Pike podcast, and like, you know what I mean, everyone get on it, look at the musicians they spoke to and that, and it's sit for tat, yous are helping me big myself up and talk to yous now, and like I want to do the same, and that's what life's all about, that's what my music's all about. So I can't sing songs about being a working class down to earth lad who's got time for the people, and I'm a man of the people, and you know, fuck the system, don't turn into one of them cunts and then be one of them cunts, do you know what I mean? It's just like you can't do it. So like, I've had like someone like put something forward to me, like people who work for certain companies, like, try and get in touch. And, like, this company got in touch with me and, like, would you like to sign up to, like, this birthday message thing? And I was like, what is it? And he was like, so, like, when people, like, we can advertise that, like, you can send people a birthday message, but for 300 quid. And you're like, what, lads? I'm writing a song about people not having a fucking penny to rub together, you know what I mean, after they've paid the bills, and I'm charging them 3 ton for fucking happy birthday messages. Nah, mate, if you get any happy birthday requests, send them my way and I'll send them back to you for free. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's how, you can't be fucking 7 shades of one, and then 7 shades of one thing and 8 of the other. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's got to be, you've got to be real. You can't, like, your music's got to be real. You've got to be down to earth. You can't ever forget, like, who you were. Do you know what I mean? If I walked in here with a pair of shades on, like a big coat on, you know, hat on, nah. Album's the best album in the world. I'm the best singer in the world. Yeah, I'm the best. You know what I mean? You can't come in and act like that. That's not how people act. Do you know what I mean? Again, that's how people think. People like that should act, but it's not. Fact of the matter is, Liam Gallagher walked around like that on stage, but I guarantee you, if you were to probably meet him and he's seen how genuine you were as a supporter for him, he'd probably give you a guest list to his show. Do you know what I mean? And like, and so, nice to meet you, kid. Yeah, I'll get a picture and that. Oh, yeah, I'll do a message for you. Yeah, fucking biblical, man, LG, you know what I mean? So, like, and he'd be fucking all day, you know what I mean? And, like, well, I met John Power, like, and John Power was, like, for me, like, Live the Dream by Cast. It was, like, one of my favourites ever.
It's an anthem, that song,
Boss, lad, it's boss. And, like, the fact that I was doing a gig with him in Kiev and all that, I was like, oh, I'm fucking John Power, do you know what I mean? John Power. Like, fucking... people named the shower after him, you know what I mean? Like, fuck that, that's the thing, and we jump in the John Power, I've heard that all my life, you know what I mean? It's John Power, mate. And I met him, and I was like, alright, John, and he was like, alright, Jamie, I've seen what you've been on. He's like the most John Lennon person ever, you know what I mean, the way he talks and that. Oh, alright, yeah. And I was like, have you got a ticket for the match, John? Oh, no, I'm not too bothered if I don't get a ticket. I'll just stand outside the ground with the bag of chips. And you're like, you're in Kiev, lad, they don't sell bags of chips. I'll find a bag of chips somewhere. And that was like my first introduction to John Power. And he was just so down to earth and so like, how are you feeling, mate? It's a big day for you, this, innit? You know, I remember feeling like that, you know, son. Have a can, take the edge off it, you know what I mean? And it was like, he could have been a bit like, because like he was on before me. You know what I mean? Like, he was supporting me, and like, by and large, he could have been a bit egotistical there and being like, fucking who's this little beauty, you know what I mean? Like, like, what, was half in the back of your mind, and he wasn't, so like, you meet people like that, and you think as far as Liverpool musicians go, once the Beatles are out of it, it's only really Echo and the Bunnymen and Cast and the Lars who have gone to, like, worldwide sort of things, you know what I mean? And, like, he's signed bigger record deals than, like, most, if not all, musicians in the city be able to sign, do you know what I mean? And like, he's so down to earth and just like, yeah man, like, you know what I mean, give me a support slot when he heard I was doing my own tunes and that. He's just, and you look at him and you think that's someone who stayed true to his dream.
He hasn't forgot what he's come from.
No, as he said, he might live in London, but he still comes down to see his man in Liverpool, and when he does a gig in Liverpool, he doesn't stay in the Hilton Hotel, he doesn't make the promoter book him at Hilton Hotel. You go and stay in his man's, do you know what I mean? And like, you know, he said, one of the he said, oh, my man phoned me the other day and said, I've just heard you on the radio there, John. And I said, nearly there, man, eh? You know what I mean? And you think, like, you know what I mean? That's like, and like, he's just like, you know what? I do alright. I've never worked a day's labour in my life, do you know what I mean? I've got by being a mute. I'm happy, do you know what I mean? And you think, that's, do you know what? Proper, do you know what I mean? And like, that, I'd like, you know, not that if I could get near the heights of Cast and the Lars anyway, do you know what I mean? That'd be a feat in itself. But if you could do something like that and still be as grounded as John Power by the time I'm in my 50s, do you know what I mean? That's the way you've got to be. But it's, and do you know what? To be fair, there's loads of boss musicians in this city who've like got a big hype around them, and like Joe from Rats being one of them, Mason Owens being another one. Like, there's people talking about them, you know, in the city that like they're sort of tipped to be the next sort of like young lads like in the bands, you know, making the big moves out of all the bands, and they're just boss, aren't they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Proper
that's
nice
right.
lads, and like I think that's what goes back to this place. I think that's what goes for being like when you grew up where we grew up, and you've got mates like we have, and you've seen things that we have. It's hard to turn into that dickhead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, I'm just made up. People are into it. You know what I mean? And people are thinking the same way. Just young kids, like you see videos of 8-year-old lads like listening to the album and that, and you think, yeah man, that's what you want. You know what I mean? Like you don't want them listening to fucking Example and fucking shit like that. You know what I mean? That's it. So the fact that like I'm having a little part in influencing what people are listening to in the city, maybe outside it for even the next couple of years, mate. I'm just made up to said I've done it, I've had a go, I've given it everything I've got. It's one thing I can say, can't give it anymore, you know what I mean? Like, but yeah.
Outside of Liverpool, where else is like so where else are you sort of popular?
Scotland, Glasgow.
Yeah.
Like, very similar city. Do you know what I mean?
Down to earth, they seem like
the boss. I've got mates from up there, and like it's very much like Liverpool, you know what I mean? It's got two massive football teams, they fucking hate each other's guts, do you know what I mean? They've got, obviously it goes a bit more with that because it goes beyond football, that, but like, they're a multicultural city, they've got a port, you know what I mean? Massive industry, like, people that rooted, like, probably come from the same background as us, you know what I mean? Mixed in with Irish, Scottish, everything, you know what I mean? That's what Liverpool is, do you know what I mean? We're a mixture of all the people who come here, we're a massive port, people come from all over, and that's why, like, you know, Glasgow, they get it, do you know what I mean? And like, because they've got their own, like, slang, like we have, do you know what I mean? Like, even people from Scotland, when people from Glasgow are talking in slang, it's not Scottish, it's Glasgow, you know, like we speak Scouse.
Yeah.
It's Glaswegian, it's like some of the words that they say. They use similar words to us. So like, if a bird says to you in Glasgow, I'm steaming, man, it doesn't mean what you think it means. It means it's pissed. Do you know what I mean? But they use like words like that, you know what I mean? Instead of like it's a boss city, and the people are real people like us. So like, initially it was the Liverpool. Liverpool have got a big following in Scotland and Edinburgh and Glasgow, and it was that people, but then like obviously people sort of made the connection with Weekend in Paradise, with Jerry Cinnamon sort of stuff, and I think that helped. Jerry wasn't too happy about it, but I think the people in Glasgow were quite happy about it. But Ireland, apart from that thing in Dublin, the Dublin gig was then the next one that I done was the quickest to sell out alongside Belfast. Do you know what I mean? So they're the sort of places where I think are most similar to Liverpool, where they get it quicker. Yeah. But like London's, the places sell out. I think I'll be able to get a proper grasp of like where the bigger support is, and where it's more, you know, by the atmosphere and the gigs and that, when I eventually go and tour them. But I'd say just after the fact that how quick the tickets went for the tour that I put out, Glasgow and then Ireland, do you know what I mean? But and in the UK, Manchester, I'd say. But funny enough, I do get a lot of Manx like messaging me about the album now, which is quite funny, you know what I mean? And like, fair play. But I think a lot of the Manchester tickets went because the Liverpool one sold out dead quick. Yeah. So like Scousers were like, we'll just go to Manny, it's only half an hour away, sort of thing, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's I think that's where it lies, you know what I mean? Mainly, well, like obviously Ireland, and like further north you go, it's probably be like more relatable. I think some of the, you know, I don't know how I go down in Camden Town or Westminster. I don't think I go down too well in Westminster or Chelsea or something like that. But like, yeah, I'm looking forward most. I'd say this isn't like putting any other city down. I'm looking forward to the Glasgow gig on the tour after the Liverpool one. Yeah, that's the one I'm. Yeah. Like 600 and odd people, do you know what I mean? It's about it. So be lucky if it goes ahead, but it's like it's sold out with like 6 months to go, do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, there's an appetite there, so I'm looking forward to it. But nah, man, hopefully the more people listen, and once I finally get back out and start playing, that like it'll start to grow, and hopefully I'll find it harder to choose somewhere where it's best. But for now, obviously the stronghold is Liverpool, and then you go to Glasgow and places like that.
When's your tour been rescheduled for?
March, well, late Feb and March, but given the new restrictions that come in, like last week,
Yeah.
they were talking about a 6-month thing, so I might make some gigs, but I can't see it. You know what I mean? I am an optimist in general. I like to keep a positive attitude, but like, do you know what I mean? It doesn't look good, does it? You know what I mean? Like, unless there's some sort of miracle vaccine.
Yeah.
But you know, will it really be a miracle vaccine? Do you know what I mean? Get into all that, but yeah, I think. Yeah, just see what happens. See what happens.
Yeah. What's the dream gig? Obviously, like, I don't want to put words in your mouth for being field, innit?
Goodison Park.
Yeah. It's well, no, like, because for me, it's the M&S Bank Arena now. Was the
It'll
Echo.
always be the Echo,
Yeah,
innit?
the Echo. Yeah, you know what I mean? But I don't want to say that in case they don't book me in future, you know, in case I piss them off. Well, yeah, the M&S, the Echo, whichever it is, the Echo. That's where you went to see like the Arctic Monkeys as a young kid, and like, you know what I mean, all the big bands, and that's when you think what it'd be like to play there one day. That and Glastonbury, Glasgow's it's me go-to. Do you know what I mean? It's like, for me, it's like go to a European Cup final or go to Glastonbury. It is really like, if you haven't been, go. It makes any festival look like a gathering. It's fucking boss. Like, Glasgow. I'm playing a barrel at A in Glasgow, mate, for no money, you know what I mean, just to get in. It's that much of a scream. So it's either that or like the arena in the city, do you know what I mean? They're like the, and then like, you know, Madison Square Garden, but like, you know what I mean, let's be real, you know what I mean, you never know, but you do, it's not gonna happen, but the bucket list things, do you know what I mean, and you look at, Madison Square Gardens, if I'm there, tell you what, if I get to Madison Square Garden, used to can stand side stage and come back, you can come on the old fucking tour with us if that happens, and I'll make that deal with you now, do you know what I mean? But yeah, they're the bucket list ones for me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We always finish on what's your favourite pint?
My favourite pint? I'm trying to think. There's this one, I mean, in my mate's hotel tier. Is it Star Primer? I can't pronounce it though, but it's just it's the Norwegian one. It's a lovely lager, do you know what I mean? What's it called? Oh no, I'll have to give you another one then because that's not on there.
Do you want me to Google it?
Yeah, is it like Star?
Was it a Norwegian bit?
Yeah, begins with S, I think. But he has it in like the iced glasses. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, oh, it's boss. Like, I'm not the biggest drinker no more. I used to drink a lot. Like when I, like, between the ages of like 16 and like, say 22, like every weekend going to match and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Used to drink bottles of Beck's. No, but we'll go for something else then. Trying to think. Don't mind a Moretti on draft, you know. Don't mind a little Moretti on draft when I have a pint. Like that's one for me. Bottles, bit controversial. I'm a Beck's man. Do you know what I mean? Some people love it. If you love Beck's, you love it. But if you don't like it, you hate it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Beck's, mate.
Nah, but Beck's is like, that's what when I used to get a crate and that, you know, when you were a lad and a kid and you get a crate on the street to go on a field, it was always Beck's, like, unless it was skint and I'd get Carlsberg, you know what I mean? I used to get 10 bottles for like £4 or something like that, didn't you? But yeah, I'll go for them. Moretti, say, because I can't think of that other pint. I was only there last night as well, but yeah, go with Moretti. Nice draft, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so
Happy?
Happy. That was Jamie Webster. We appreciate you coming on, mate.
Yeah, nice.
Nah, lads, you know, further down the line, after the next album, if you want to get me back on again.
Yeah, definitely.
More than happy, lads. And yeah, nice one for having me. It's nice to meet like-minded lads, you know what I mean? Young lads like yourself. And albeit he's a Blues, I'd say have a good season, but I wouldn't. But, you know, that's just footy in it. But no, honestly, as far as like everything goes, like, it means a lot. Like, he's getting me on, especially as being Blues. I can imagine it to be like the initial, not that he's like that, but the initial, like, should we get that Jamie Webster on? Oh, shall we? We might, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nice one for doing it, because I've had the screen with you and like,
nice one.
yeah, it's boss to talk to you.
Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe if you will, and nice ones for everyone that watched.
The raven's just swinging in a land of dreams, inspired by magic beams, and all the squares are filled with despair, but all the little dancing feet don't seem to care. To the ones who go straight to the boozer as soon as they end work, because the boss's son's a knobhead and he's driving all of the lads berserk. 3 ton for a week's graft. Sometimes I get it cash in hand, boss is leasing a Bentley, still probably cost him 100 grand. 100 grand. You might say to me, there's more to life than this, but we've not got a pound, our heads are barely above ground. To make ends meet we try, and then spend what's left on booze and getting high. Still we get by. Tons of people queuing for the gyro check, late Thursday on Walton Breck. Bills come out at midnight and you're left with a score, just like last week and all those times before. Though we still have our moments, those bursts of happiness, even though the boiler's broken and the stairs and landing are a mess, won't ever be beaten. 'Cause we've got them and they've got us, so roll on in your Bentley, because for now I think I'm happy on the bus. You might say to me, there's more to life than this, but we've not got a pound, our heads are barely above ground. To make ends meet we try, and then spend what's left on booze and getting high. Still we get by yesterday. From you I'm running far away. Today's the day that I got paid, and the one where all me dreams are made. To make ends meet I'll try, and then spend what's left on booze and getting high. Still we get by. Yeah, cheers lads. I know it sounds nice when it's late.